Hey guys, Buffy Game Bad today, bringing you a video, and today we are covering the AK-104, and we're going to be converting it from the AK-103 or the Kastov 7.62 here in game. So this is a conversion that I remember covering back in Black Ops Cold War's iteration of Warzone, where we were able to make this kind of with some of the attachments from the AK-47 in the Cold War version, but here in this game, we can actually get a legit AK-104 with the polymer parts and everything. So this is really cool. Finally, we have some modernized AKs. So we're going to jump in. I'll show you how to build the AK-104, see how it handles in the firing range, and then see how it handles in-game. Let's go ahead and back out and jump right into it. Here's our final design for the AK-104 of the Avdamant Kalashnikov 104. It was developed in 2001, so I'm not really sure. The 104 designation is just part of the 100 series, and it's the fourth. I will go into this why it's the 4, what that really actually means. You would think it would mean like 2004 or 1994 or something like that, given the other designations for the AK rifles. But this 100 series and in 4th iteration, this being a carbine. So let's go ahead and back out, and we will select our base weapon. So we're going to want at base the AK-103, which is the Kastov 7.62 here in game, firing the 7.62 by 39mm rounds. We'll go ahead and select that. Now we'll jump in and gunsmith it. So really the only key attachment here, you can make a couple different builds with this. I'll show you here, but the barrel, there's 2 really good barrel options that you're going to want for this. The first one is the Kastov 343. So this one is going to be, actually has the correct 100 series handguards. This is the right AK-104 barrel and attachment you would actually want, because you have the correct 104 handguard. You can see there it does have the 104 handguards had the gripping on the side there, as well as the built-in rail on the bottom there for mounting grip. So that's the 100 series handguard, which is correct. And you had the recoil booster there, which is on the muzzle. So that it has the correct muzzle attachment, same as you would see on the AKS-74U. The 100 series did adopt these specifically with the AK-105 and the 104. So this is the correct barrel attachment. However, you can definitely use this barrel, but we're going to go with the 342 Socken KL, because this one gives us that KEYMOD handguard here on the AK-104. However, the muzzle device is incorrect. It's going with a standard AK-74 pattern muzzle device is what I believe that is supposed to be. So this one, you can go with either one. For this build today, we're going to be using the Socken XL. So the pros here being the aim down sight speed, movement speed, and the hip fire recoil control. And the cons being the damage at range, bullet velocity, hip fire control, and the recoil control. Now in real life, the AK-104 and 105s have 12.4-inch barrels, which comes to 314mm. So this is a little bit over that, obviously, but they're the correct designs and everything. You have the 90-degree gas block, the right hand guards, everything, barrel assembly, muzzles. So this is the correct build. They just do different barrel lengths historically in Call of Duty games. So we're going to go with the Socken XL. Now for a laser option here, this is personal preference. If you want the best laser, probably, depending on how you want to build this for hipfire, you can go with one of the hipfire ones. The Ollie V is going to be basically your tac laser from 2019, but for aesthetic purposes, I want a tan PEC. So we're going to go ahead and go with the CZ 1 milliwatt PEC for the PEC 15. So this is just going to give us the aiming stability here. There's no con, so the laser will not be visible to the enemy. So we'll go ahead and select that so we get a nice black and tan mix. Now for the optic attachment, again, this is personal preference. You can really go with whatever optic you want. You obviously have some nice Russian options here, being the Cobra sight or the DF-105 reflex sight. This is the Russian Cobra. You have the Monaco, which is the OKP-7, again, another Russian sight. You also have, if we keep going here, you have the PKA, or the PKSA. I always forget the name of this one. Something like that. This, again, is a Russian holographic sight. And then we obviously have something like the VLK 4 times, and there's some other Russian, I believe this is supposed to be a Russian thermal sight, and we also have, I believe, one more right here. We have this again is another Russian optic, the same one, the thermal that we saw in the AN-94 in Modern Warfare 2019. So the purpose of this video, again, personal preference, which optic you want. I'm going to go ahead and opt for this one red dot here, right here. So we're going to go with the Recharge DX. So this is going to give us precision sight picture and aim down sight speed. I'm not 100% sure what this optic is supposed to be. I believe it is supposed to be one of the newer versions of the Russian optics. We see a very similar one in Tarkov. But again, this is, I believe it's supposed to be modeled after a Russian a Russian optic here. So we're going to go ahead and go with this. I think it looks pretty aesthetically pleasing here on the AK. You can always obviously opt for a holographic as well. Would look very nice on this. So we're going to go ahead and go with the Recharge DX. Now for the stock option, I'm going to leave the base stock because this is the correct 100 series polymer side folding butt stock, but you can obviously go with the Elite stock is also a very good option. You can go with this skeleton stock option here, the Kastov Rama. You can go with the underfolding, even though these were never really ever found on the AK-100 series weapons, but obviously you have a Zenico stock here as well. So this is a really good option here also, but I'm going to go typically the 104s. I like the way they look with the standard AK-100 series polymer buttstock, so we'll leave that. The pistol grip here, it's coming with the standard 100 series pistol grip, so we're actually going to swap that out for the Ivanov ST70 grip. This looks, I'm not sure if this is supposed to be modeled after US Palm pistol grip, I believe. Potentially, obviously there's some changes in the way they present a lot of the attachments, so it could be a mix of a lot of things, same as we see with a lot of the barrel attachments. But this looks nice on this weapon. And again, I think it's modeled after some of the US Palm pistol grips as well for the AKs. So the pros here, flinch resistant. Cons are aim, walking, movement speed. We'll go ahead and select that. Magazine option, we're going to leave blank. However, we do have a 20 and a 40 round magazine option here, which looks just great on this. Ammunition, we're going to leave blank. However, we do have all the typical ones that you see on the other weapons. Nothing unique there. Underbarrel attachment, again, this is going to be personal preference here. You can really, especially with tuning options, you can go with whatever you want. Personally, I'm going to go ahead and run with the operator foregrip. I find this one, for some reason, just works well for me. It's very easy to control this weapon with this grip, even though and it does have a good mix of recoil control and hipfire accuracy. Because this is a shorter build of an AK, the 104 is mainly it's a carbine variant, so it is meant to be used in mostly close quarters combat. So this works pretty well. You get a good balance of recoil control and the hipfire engagements when you need it. So we'll select that, and that's our 5 attachments there for the AK-104. Now, one thing here, if we just look at some of the camos on this, you can see what they look like. It's going to cover, depending on the camos, they actually cover things differently. So some of them cover the handguard and grips, some of them just change the color, which is pretty cool. So you can see right there, it's going to leave the handguard black. These ones, it's going to pretty much cover everything. And another thing, if you did want to go with that other 104 barrel, so if you actually did want to select the 343 instead, and say you didn't like the way that handguard color is, with some of the camouflages, it'll cover that up and turn it black. It'll cover it, so you can get right here really the correct 104 with the correct handguard color on there with that black handguard. Really just depends on what camo option you decide to choose. So you can definitely do that one as well if you want just the standard 100 series handguard option. But like I said, we're going to go with the Socken KL because this is going to give us that KEYMOD handguard. So we'll go ahead and do that. Go ahead and look at our final design here, and we're going to leave it at the base camo, even though really quick I will actually show kind of what the clay looks like on this, because it does look really, really nice. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that flat camo there. It looks great with the clay. You get the black handguard. The way it covers the weapon in certain spots just looks beautiful. It doesn't cover the grip. I think they did a great job with the camos in this game. They look so well on these weapons. Modern Warfare 2019's just looked a little off. So this looks amazing. We're going to leave the base black weapon here. Now, if we go ahead and just do the inspect here, you can see just a beautiful, beautiful weapon. You see you got that Tampax. So we got the KEYMOD handguard. Looks great. We have a pick on the upper dust cover, and we have a pick on the top of the handguard as well as the bottom of the handguard. We're using that KEYMOD to mount a Picatinny rail there on the right-hand side of the handguard to mount that PEC 15. Again, you note the 90-degree gas block, the 12.5-inch barrel here of the AK-100 series. We have the 74 series muzzle device on there. And then here on the side, we do have, on the left-hand side above the trigger guard, we do have the improved version of the 100 series, the dovetail optic mount there. But here, when you put an optic on, you are using a railed dust cover. If you don't have a optic on, you just have a standard dust cover. So here with an optic, it puts the Picatinny rail dust cover on, which is really nice to see. We have the correct magazine paddle release there. You can see it is a stamped receiver and not a milled. You see that little divot above the mag well there. That means it is stamped. If there was a longer, more squared one, it would be a milled receiver. So this is the correct stamped receiver. I think the only ones that still do milled are Palmetto State Armory. I think there's some U.S. company that does do milled instead of stamped. but stamped is better for just mass production. And here you have the correct select fire above the trigger guard here on the right hand side, so you can see that, and you have the ejection port with the charging handle. Unfortunately, they don't have a Zenit charging handle on this, so hopefully that's something we'll see in some of the blueprints going forward. But again, this the AK-100 series buttstock will fold. It is a side folding buttstock, so here I believe it is meant to fold to the left hand side. You can see where that hinge is there on the left hand side rear versus not on this side. So that's gonna, the 100 series buttstocks do fold, so this will fold to the left hand side and clip in right there above the mag well. Oops. For whatever reason, that still happens. I don't know if that's happening to anybody else in private matches. It just, for some reason, always loves to kick me out. But if we jump right back in really quick, finish looking at that, and then we'll jump into the gun range here, or the firing range. So looking at this, where that would clip in, again, is right where that stamped divot is. Right in front of that, you see that little, there's a little notch there. Unfortunately, I can't really like point it out too well without getting blurry, but that little divot right there in front of the magazine, right above the magazine, kind of, see if I can get to it right here. So this thing here, even though it's not very clear with how zoomed in we are, that's where the that's where it would clip in, the side folding buttstock. So that's where that would go. Looks really, really nice. Again, we have the improved pistol grip on there. Just a great looking weapon overall. So very, very pretty. I love a good AK. So it's great to have finally some modern AKs here in Modern Warfare 2 here in 2022. So we'll go ahead and back out. Let's jump into the firing range and take a look at this thing, because it actually, it's very controllable given the barrel length and everything. So let's go ahead and do the inspect. Just a great looking AK-104. You can see the inspect there. We have our 7.62 by 39 millimeter. Really nice. Let's go ahead and fire off some rounds here. So again, pretty accurate, especially with the barrel. It's not supposed to be great for range, but I think that's supposed to be a 50-yarder, I think. The recoil is on this weapon is basically straight vertical, so it's pretty easy to control, even at these longer ranges. You can see there, just great control. Take a look at the recoil here. So again, you can see here, it's just going to go up and slightly to the right. No real deviation, so your first couple shots are going to be pretty centered. 3 shots will be mostly straight on, and then it will start veering a little bit to the right. Now, if we control it here, again, you just got to pull down slightly. And again, those are all center mass shots. Very easy to control. You can see there, just an easy to control weapon and very, very aesthetically pleasing. Also, you have that, the correct magazine here. Just a beautiful weapon. So let's go ahead now. We'll jump into the gameplay here for the AK-104 again. Just using this on the border crossing map, just because again it is a build. The AK-104 is mainly for closer quarters combat. So this is a good mix, I believe, of close quarters. You have some areas on the side lanes of longer engagements versus inside the car areas. You have closer quarters. You may notice a little bit of action there with the Lynx sniper rifle. I do have a special kind of ammunition on there, which is making it do what it does when I'm shooting at specific objects. You'll catch that what I'm doing here in the gameplay. So the AK-104, this is a carbine variant of the carbine or carbine, depending on where you're from, is a carbine variant of the AK-103. So the AK-103 and the AK-104 both fire 7.62 by 39 millimeter versus their counterpart with the AK-105 being the carbine variant of essentially the AK-74. So the AK-105 is the same exact thing as what you're seeing here. And we covered this the other day in a Zenitco AK-105 build, or we covered it in an Zenit AK-10 or 74M build. But the 105 is the exact same thing as the 104. Just chambered in 5.45 by 39 millimeter. Everything about it, the appearance, everything else is exactly the same. Obviously, it's just firing that different caliber, the same as the AK-74, 74M. The 105 is the carbine of the AK-74, whereas the AK-104 is the carbine of the AK-103. Now, the 100 series came about in the mid to later 90s. Started with the, you had the AK-101 and 102. Those are The 101 is going to be the full-length 5.56 by 45 millimeter NATO. The 102 is going to be the carbine variant, 12.4 inch of 5.56 by 45 millimeter NATO. Then you have the 103, which is the full-length 7.62 by 39 millimeter. You have the 104, which is the carbine variant of the 103, 7.62 by 39 millimeter. Then you have the 105, which is the carbine version of the AK-104, which is 5.45 by 39 millimeter. So, really cool series. Now, hopefully, eventually, we'll get maybe some attachments. I know there's rumors that we're going to get the AK-12 and AK-15 builds eventually, but I would personally rather see the 107 iteration, 107, 108, and 109. So what the 107 was, did have a specific recoil, not a counterbalance, but basically the same thing as a counterbalance, but essentially what it did is it was basically a counterbalance, but it mitigated the recoil, so there was really zero recoil essentially on this weapon, and the rate of fire was increased up to around 900 rounds per minute. So the AK-107, 108, 109, those are all same design, just again different calibers. You have 7.62, or the 107 is 5.45 by 39. The 108, I believe, is 7.62 by 39, and the 109 is 5.56 by 45. So those are actually, there's sport versions of that which are used in shooting competition because it's so flat shooting. So that'd be really cool if we got the right barrel attachment for the AK-107. Would be awesome. But back to the AK-104 again. This was designed in 1994. The 104 was put into service in 2001 through present. It did see action in the Syrian Civil War. It's kind of a favorite. This and the 105 are used heavily amongst Russian special forces like Spetsnaz, Alpha Guru, and SOBR units and things like that. And then you also have, obviously, the manufacturer is Kalashnikov Concern, developed by the designer Mikhail Kalashnikov, which is where the AK name comes from. Avtomat, meaning automatic. Kalashnikov, AK, so Avtomat Kalashnikov. Model of 1947 was the original. Then you had 74, etc. Plenty of different variants, which we discussed already. So the mass of this weapon is going to be 3 kilograms or 6.6 pounds when it's empty. And then when it's loaded, it's going to be 3.2 kilograms or 7.1 pounds with an empty magazine. Now, when it's fully loaded with the ammunition inside the magazine, it's going to go up to 3.7 kilograms or 8.2 pounds. Again, firing the 7.62 by 39 millimeter, it's a larger round, so it's going to add some weight. The length with the stock in total is going to be 824 millimeters or 32.4 inches, and that's with the stock extended. Now, the stock, like I said, does fold to the sides, so that'll reduce the overall length down to 586 millimeters or 23.1 inches. Now, the barrel length, in real life, like we said, there's some discrepancies versus the game here. The real life barrel length is going to be 314 millimeters or 12.4 inches. Here in game, we have 343 and 342 for both the 104 barrel lengths. Cartridge, we already discussed 7.62 by 39 millimeter. It is a gas-actuated rotating bolt with a rate of fire of 600 rounds per minute and a muzzle velocity of 670 meters per second or 2,200 feet per second. Also has an effective range of 300 meters or 330 yards and can extend out to 500 meters or 550 yards with longer range shots with this thing. Feed system will be the 30 round detachable box mag. You obviously have the option for a 40 round, and it can obviously be equipped with any magazine from 7.62 by 39 millimeter firing AK, especially even the drum rounds. Not in game, unfortunately. We only get a 20 round option and a 40 round option, but given the power of this thing, that seems more than fair enough to me. I'm very happy with that. The AK seems to definitely hit a lot harder in this. Now, the sights for the AK-104, you had iron sights. There's also the side dovetail mount, which we see here to mount optics and things like that. But here in game, obviously, we do have the Picatinny railed. Looks like it's probably welded on to the dust cover. So we do have the pick rail dust cover on this thing. Very beautiful weapon. Again, let me know what your guys' thoughts are down below. The AK-104, have you run this thing yet? What do you think of the AK-104, the Kastov platform in general? Just a great weapon. I'm really happy to see this here in the game. The AK-100 series is one of my favorites, and back in Modern Warfare 2019, I really more than anything in that game, really wanted a modern AK ability to make. So here, with these more 100 series AKs, it's really great to see this with Picatinny rails, all that, M-lock handguards, Zenit attachments. We have Zenit handguards, Zenit buttstocks, so it's really good to see. It makes me really happy, finally, to have the AKs up to the modern standard in the Modern Warfare games. So especially with Modern Warfare 2019, they had an original AK-47 Type 3, I believe it was, which is what was in that game. So just wasn't even an AKM at base, I don't think. So really good to finally have the right series of AKs in the game here. And apparently, like I said, it's rumored we're going to be getting the AK-12 and AK-15 platforms at some point. Personally, I would rather see the 107, 108, and 109 introduced with that recoil compensation system. It's called something else by the Russians, but essentially it is a recoil compensating system. So very cool weapon here, the AK-104. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you guys are enjoying the content, want to see more weapon conversions and more content overall regarding Modern Warfare 2, DMZ, Warzone 2, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and like the video for post notifications, things like that. We do videos pretty much every day here. Discord links, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch are down below in the description. Go ahead and check those out. We have a really good community over on Discord. And I think we're a little bit over 36,000 subscribers now. So really enjoying it. Looking forward to doing a lot more weapon conversions here in Modern Warfare 2. And we have Season 1 coming up here with some new weapons, which we'll be covering, as well as, like I said, DMZ, as well as Warzone. It's going to be a lot of fun. So let me know your thoughts down below. The AK-104, what's your favorite AK build? There's a lot of, the Kastov has a large platform here in game. You have the 7.62, you have the 5.45, you have the PP-19 Vitzias and the Bison, and the RPKs. There's a large selection of AK pattern rifles here in the game. What's your favorite? What's your favorite build? Let me know your thoughts down below. Also, go ahead and leave weapon conversion or weapon idea selections or ideas down below, and I'll go ahead and most likely I always come through, so I'll probably grab some ideas there, and especially if you have things that you want to see for Warzone and DMZ, go ahead and leave those builds down there as well. Till next time, this is Buffner Gaming with the Avtomat Kalashnikov Model 104. Till next time, Buffner Gaming, out.